All right, hey guys, welcome to the video. If you're new here, my name's Curtis, and today we're gonna be talking about one of my favorite niche fragrance houses. This is the House of d'Orsay. Are you familiar with this house? This is a Parisian niche house, and I discovered d'Orsay back in, I think towards the end of 2024. They have some amazing fragrances, and so I went to the boutique yesterday, and so I'll be talking a little bit about my experience there. So if you're curious to hear my thoughts and opinions about the House of d'Orsay, then let's go. Yesterday, when I went to the d'Orsay boutique, it's located in Omotesando in Tokyo. And actually it was my first time going there yesterday, but yeah, I decided to go down there. And if you're not familiar with Omotesando, and if you do ever visit Japan, it's a great place to go. You know, it is quite upscale, but so they do have like a lot of like trendy shops and restaurants and things like that, but they also have some nice perfume boutiques. So yeah, I had decided to go to the d'Orsay boutique. I got there a little bit early, it wasn't open yet, and so I dove into this coffee shop right across the street called Blue Bottle Coffee. It's kind of a trendy coffee shop, but I went there. It was a super hot day yesterday, so just relaxed in the air conditioning a little bit, enjoyed the vibe and the atmosphere, and enjoyed quite a nice cup of iced coffee. And then, you know, around noon, I went in over to the d'Orsay boutique, and it was an absolutely lovely experience there. Now, the reason why I went there was because, you know, I'm a huge fan of their Extrates, but I had never really dipped into their just kind of normal or regular line of fragrances. So I went there to really kind of experience those fragrances there. And so yeah, I ended up picking up 2 fragrances yesterday. All right guys, so the first fragrance I'll be talking about today from the House of d'Orsay, we have EQ. Now, of course, there is also a French name here. I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce this, so I'm just gonna stick to EQ, the other name listed down there. It's a bit easier for me, but for any of my followers who maybe can speak French, Carlito, if you're watching, how do you pronounce this? But anyways, yeah, so this, I smelled almost all of the fragrances at the boutique yesterday, and I was really drawn to EQ. Now, I do know that this fragrance was created by master perfumer Dominique Ropion. I'm a huge fan of his work, and he also created one of their Extrates Flower Lust, and I'll be talking about Flower Lust a bit later on in the video. But EQ, man, this is a stunning fragrance. What you get here is this fragrance is all about the orris, jasmine, and some musky notes, but it is such a gorgeous wear. It's a powdery, floral, musky bomb. But one thing to really understand is that these fragrances are all about subtle elegance. These wear very elegantly. But I feel like there's a true beauty in that. And I think for people who are planning to come and visit Japan, if you're not aware of perfume culture here, you know that many people don't wear perfumes here. It's almost kind of like they believe in very natural smells. And so, you know, beast mode fragrances don't really have a place in Japanese culture. But, you know, fragrances by d'Orsay, like their regular line, fit perfectly over here. Man, and not only that, EQ specifically is such a gorgeous wearing experience. This was actually my fragrance of the day yesterday. I didn't wear any fragrance when I visited the boutique yesterday, and so I had planned on buying something and then wearing it as my fragrance of the day. So EQ was actually my fragrance of the day yesterday during the daytime. But man, what a beautiful wearing experience this one was. You know, like I said, this is just a very floral, powdery, you know, beautiful kind of musky vibe. You do have some ambrette seed in here, and that a lot of times in perfumery, ambrette seed kind of acts as like a musky type of note. And so that's basically what's happening here. But like I said, this is very powdery and very floral. You have that orris kind of concrete in here. And so the orris concrete and the jasmine are kind of dominating this fragrance along with that ambrette seed, which is kind of below the orris and the jasmine. But, you know, if you're anything like me, you know, you may not be the biggest fan of powdery fragrances, but this doesn't come off as like overly powdery or like off-putting. And the jasmine in here too, a lot of times jasmine can come off a bit indolic and almost kind of animalic, but it's not coming off like that at all here. This fragrance overall comes off very fresh as well. So it's one that, even though we have quite humid temperatures here in the summer, it's one that you could totally pull off, and it worked perfectly yesterday. Just a very gorgeous, and like I said, elegant wear. So I mean, if you're looking for beast mode fragrance, this is not it. And anything from d'Orsay's just kind of normal line of fragrances are not beast mode. Like I said, they just wear very elegantly, but they are very just beautiful and extremely well done. You know, Dominique Ropion never fails in his creations, and he has nailed it with this one. So yeah, this is one that I highly recommend. So yeah, if you haven't experienced any of d'Orsay's fragrances, definitely check this one out. So if you can, get yourself a sample of EQ by d'Orsay. All right, so the next fragrance I picked up yesterday, also from d'Orsay's regular line. This one is LB. So again, yeah, it's the same deal. You know, they have some French written here. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it. But LB, this is a fragrance that was created by Fanny Ball. And I do have a couple other fragrances in my collection that were created by her. And she is a master at working with orange blossom and neroli. And that's what this one is. This is kind of a floral orange blossom neroli, slightly powdery citrus balm. Again, this is one of those fragrances that you can wear in the summertime here. You can wear it in other seasons well, but this goes off extremely well in the high heat. You do get a very nice blast of citruses in here. You have some bergamot and some lemon. And then you also have some iris kind of aldehydic notes, which is almost giving this fragrance like a bit of a fizziness, almost like a bubbly type of fizziness that sometimes aldehydes give off. But like I said, those citruses really dominate in this fragrance, but they're not overly prominent, but I think they're balanced very well with the iris aldehydes in here. And then you do have some ambroxan in the base, which is helping to give this fragrance a bit of legs. But man, again, just extremely well done. And I think this one actually is going to be my fragrance of today. So I'm just gonna put this one on, and you can kind of just really kind of go with it with these fragrances. Again, I think I actually sprayed a little bit in my ear there. That was a little strange. But again, like I said, these fragrances wear quite elegantly. Yeah, I tend to spray a little bit heavier. And also, one thing that I noticed too, when I was sampling these on skin, typically when you go to perfume stores in Japan, when you're sampling on skin, they'll do like one push. I noticed the owner of this d'Orsay boutique, he had done like five pushes. So I think, you know, and that kind of told me that, okay, these probably are gonna wear quite elegantly. And yeah, they definitely do. I mean, you're getting, you know, a moderate kind of scent bubble, but it's not, you're not like completely enclosed by the scent bubble. Like, you're catching wafts every now and then. And I would say it's more of an intimate type of sillage, but man, gorgeous wearing experience. And if you're someone who can appreciate the juice inside and put that first over performance, then you're really gonna love these. But yeah, I mean, I would say in terms of my wearing experience yesterday, and I'm assuming that LB will have probably a similar wearing experience to EQ. I got about 6 hours of longevity with that fragrance, but one thing that I did notice was what I had sprayed on clothes had remained. So if you spray this on clothes, it's gonna last definitely a bit longer than it would on skin. But yeah, both of these fragrances I absolutely love. You can wear both of these year-round essentially, but they work really well in the summertime. And I think EQ is probably a little bit more versatile in its scent profile. Like I feel like EQ is going to go off really well in the fall as well. Man, but yeah, both of these fragrances are amazing. And yeah, I'm definitely planning to head back to the d'Orsay boutique. And yesterday, while I was there, he actually gave me 2 samples of 2 other fragrances that I was interested in. One of those, and this is from d'Orsay's regular line, normal line of fragrances. The first one is AC. I'm not going to be sampling these now. I will. This will be for a later video. And the other one that he gave me was called CG. So yeah, I'll be doing kind of a first impressions, kind of like first impressions. As I didn't try these on skin yesterday, I just kind of smelled from the paper. But these were 2 that kind of caught my attention. But yeah, I mean, these are just extremely well done. If you're someone who can appreciate quality, then this is definitely a brand to check out. And kind of like I said before, like if you are someone who's planning to come to Japan, check out the fragrances from d'Orsay's regular line, because these fragrances fit perfectly in Japanese culture. With that said, I would also like to talk about the Extrates today as well, because if you are someone who wants a bit more beef and punch to your fragrance, then check out the Extrates. And so I want to talk about the Extrates that I do have as well. All right, first up from the House of d'Orsay, this is from their Extrate line. We have Flower Lust. So this one's a deep, warm, sweet, a little peppery, a bit spicy. You also get some florals that are kind of dancing around in your head. Man, just a beautiful, beautiful wear. This is another creation by Dominique Ropion. And again, he's just knocked it out of the park here. What can I say? I kind of go back and forth between this one and Tonka Hysteria as being my favorite Extrait from d'Orsay. I guess it kind of depends on my day and the mood that I'm in. But this fragrance is, I feel like it has a sexy seductiveness about it. And this is a fragrance that, it just exudes confidence. I feel like if you're a guy wearing a fragrance like this, you kind of have to have a bit of confidence to pull this one off. Not in the sense that it's like, like overly masculine or kind of like a very polarizing fragrance, but just that, it does contain that heavy dose of florals. And I think for a lot of guys, maybe you might shy away from florals a little bit, but don't shy away from this one. Again, this is a gorgeous wear, and for me, this one wears unisex. This one's right down the middle. But man, stunning. And like I said before, if you're someone who wants a bit more beef to your fragrance, but you can still, what's impressive to me about the Extrait line is while these fragrances have a bit more kind of chunk and beefiness to them, they also maintain that elegance. These are just very well done, and you can definitely sense the d'Orsay DNA running through these fragrances. But man, these are stunners. This one, especially Flower Lust, is a stunner. I absolutely love this one. But yeah, but this for me is a fragrance that I tend to reach for more like fall, winter, springtime. It's too heavy and it has that thickness that it would come off as cloying if I were to wear this one in the summertime. I typically like to wear more light, airier fragrances in the summer because summers are so humid and hot here in Japan. So yeah, this is more of a fall, winter, spring scent for me. But man, it's a gorgeous one and definitely one to check out. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Flower Lust by d'Orsay. All right, next from the Extrait line from d'Orsay, we have Tonka Hysteria. Man, dense, thick, creamy, slightly powdery, warm, sweet, spicy. That's what you get here. This fragrance is so delicious. It kind of pushes into that gourmand territory in a way, but I wouldn't say that it's overly gourmand. I mean, I think as you guys know, I'm not the biggest fan of gourmand fragrances, but I can wear a fragrance like this. It's not overly gourmand to where it comes off cloying to me personally in terms of what I like. but it still kind of has that sweetness to it. But you do have quite a heavy blast of orris in here, so it is bringing a slight powderiness. And again, it's not something to where it's overly powdery to where it's off-putting to me. I mean, I think as you guys know, if you've been watching my channel, you know I'm not the biggest fan of powdery fragrances. I feel like I'm definitely starting to come around a bit more to them, as I have added a few more to my collection. I mean, EQ and LB do kind of have that powdery nuance to them, or you know, fragrances like Orpheon by Diptyque. Yeah, I'm definitely starting to come around more to powdery fragrances, but I feel like, you know, I definitely have boundaries with that in terms of what's a bit, you know, off-putting to me, but I can definitely rock it here. This fragrance is unisex, but one thing that again, just like Flower Lust, this fragrance is extremely beefy. I mean, this is borderline room filling. This is quite heavy, so I do go easy with the sprays with this. With Flower Lust and with Tonka Hysteria, I do 1 or 2 sprays. That's it. Most of the time it's 1, but if I'm gonna be outdoors, I'll do like 2. These fragrances do leave quite heavy trails, and they fill the room. They are quite dense and thick, so a little goes a long way with these fragrances. But man, gorgeous, gorgeous wear. And this fragrance, I believe, was created by Jordi Fernandez. Yeah, he has, again, just done an amazing job. And like I said before, I kind of bounce back and forth between Flower Lust and Tonka Hysteria in terms of which one I like the best. But man, gorgeous wear, definitely one to check out. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Tonka Hysteria by d'Orsay. Say that, you know, while I was at the d'Orsay boutique yesterday, he also gave me one more sample, and this is the other extrait from their line, Incense Crush. And I did smell this towards the end of 2024, but you know, I never really gave it a wearing experience on skin, and I still haven't. But this will be, I'll definitely do kind of I guess semi first impression for a later video where I'll cover Incense Crush and the 2 other samples that I received from d'Orsay. But overall, yeah, I'm extremely impressed with this house. This is definitely one of my favorite niche houses. But what I will say is, you know, if you're someone who, I wouldn't say that these fragrances necessarily take me on a journey or anything like that. I would say that these fragrances just smell amazing, and if you can appreciate kind of French perfumery, then you will really enjoy this house. But yeah, stunning house. I'm a huge fan, and they're definitely worth a sample at the very least. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's content, and let me know down in the comments section, are you familiar with the House of d'Orsay? Do you have any favorites from the house? What are your thoughts and opinions? Well, I hope you guys are staying healthy and well, and I'll see you in the next video.